Gabriel Dalton is a 17-year-old founder, speaker, and one of the emerging voices in digital sustainability. He started coding at 10 years old, founded Oasis of Change at 15, and he's now leading initiatives that reduce the environmental footprint of the internet through energy-efficient websites and digital practices. His work has earned him the City of Vancouver's Youth Impact and Innovation Award and led the proclamation of Sustainable Technology Week in Vancouver. He's also worked alongside organizations like Microsoft, IKEA, and the dais of Toronto Metropolitan University, all while pushing a simple idea. The internet is not invisible, and how we build it really does matter. Gabe, welcome to Retaining Purpose. Amazing to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
So, I want to start in with a little bit of your story. Okay, so we've got the intro. You're doing wild and crazy cool things at a very young age. Incredible. How did your journey start, though? Like, there's a little bit of a saying, I was born on a boat.
Yeah, it's a nice hook. So I was born on a boat. I lived there for about 6 years, on and off. And, it's a very unique uprising. There were some times where we didn't have, or there wasn't hot water at all. So you really had to deal with what I had there. So that kind of taught me some things about being efficient, which led to the efficient websites, which we'll get into.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So what do your parents do that led you to be born on a boat? So for those that don't know, you're in Vancouver. I'm assuming this happened in Vancouver, correct?
Yeah, just down in Cole Harbour, just where we had the Web Summit conference. You could literally see it from the conference center at Web Summit. Yeah, so my dad, they just there's not much to tell you. They just had a boat, and I was born on there, a home birth rather than the traditional hospital birth, which was unique. And we went from there. I think they just liked boats and didn't want the hospital journey.
There you go, and liked being on the ocean. So, how did So, by 10 years old, you're coding. So I found it interesting. You just said, maybe somehow that might have been the start of some sustainability mindset with you when all of a sudden you're dealing with some challenges. You don't got running water, and you're seeing things from a different point of view, right? So in those early years, walk me through a little bit about what that looked like for you. Like, what were some of those early events that really kind of got you going in the direction you're heading right now?
Yeah, so every day I would have to walk through the dock up to school. It didn't really get me to where I was today. It just got me thinking about, hey, I have to be efficient with the resources I have, right? We don't have unlimited hot water, or generally none at all. So how can I be efficient with having a quick shower or something like that? But yeah, some of the things that we were doing were going up through the dock every day, and my parents forced me to learn how to swim, even though I hated it, because that was my journey to school, right? I literally had to, open the door, walk on the dock, hopefully not drown or fall into the water. Yeah, that was a while ago. So that was, I guess, that was a while ago. So I started my entrepreneurial journey really after we moved off of the boat. I was selling cards, Gabe's cards, and then I was doing like can recycling. So like I was hiring kids at my school, giving them gumballs to pick up the cans, and then we'd bring that back to the liquor store and get 10 cents for it. So that was really a start. And then a bunch of yard sales and kind of sort of things like that. And then when I was 10, I was already into computers and whatnot, and a family friend came to me and said, Gabriel, can you help me with a website? And I was like, oh yeah. Like I didn't know how to make one, but I self-taught myself how to do it, and just went from there. Word of mouth is the best type of marketing, and it's a great way to get new clients.
Yeah, absolutely it is. So you start coding at 10.
Yep.
For the record, I know nothing about coding. I know people do it. That's great. Happy that they exist in the world. 10 years old, I would say it's young, but in today's world, it doesn't seem that young anymore to be doing crazy things with computers. So then you start going through this coding, and did a kind of switch did a switch flip in you where you start all of a sudden looking at it going, okay, I'm on my computer every day. I'm doing all these things. What is my impact here?
No, the answer is not really. How I actually found out all of this accessibility as well as what I do, but also mainly sustainability, is I came across this Google statistic that a single Google search can power a 10-watt light bulb for 108 seconds. And I was like, okay, that's a Google search. How, people are searching for websites. And websites, when you go to a different page, every single page, it has to load in every time, right? That must be using a lot of energy. So that was a few years after I started coding, maybe when I was about 12 or so, found out about that statistic, and then started digging in on that. There's only a few agencies around the world working in digital sustainability. It's such a small niche that it's been great for media coverage, and it's been great to learn, but there's not a lot of articles or ways to... there's an abundant amount of information on the internet, but there's no law for digital sustainability. So you kind of have to make your own little booklet of how you're going to study it or learn about it, which is maybe harder.
And I guess not only study and learn about it, but what you're going to choose to do about it as well.
Yeah.
Right. So do you think, I guess, that it's niche, yet the internet, websites, now AI, data centers, everything is growing at just an insanely rapid pace, right? Have you found it, or did you find it hard to be taken seriously when you first started talking about this? You're 17 now, almost 18, I think, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, we're talking 5-6 years ago. Did you find people did you find it a struggle for people to be really take you seriously in this, or were they just kind of looking at you as a young whippersnapper, trying to tell them what to do?
Generally, it's pretty good. There's some types of, sometimes there's a bit of ageism, how can I trust you? You're so young. But the reality is you just have to ignore those types of people and keep on pushing forward. And that's why we've had the impact that we've had today, because of those clients and those supporters who have trusted our organization and myself personally through all of these years of learning in digital sustainability. Our best case study, up to a 98% reduction in website emissions, energy use, and water use, is a great testament to the early on supporters who have supported us. So that's amazing, I would say.
Yeah, for sure it is. So just for the people out there that don't know, me being one of them, so a 98% reduction on a website. What are you doing differently without, confusing me?
Yeah. So going back to the basics, right? The internet uses energy. Data centers use water, right, to cool. And websites on the code are all hosted on the servers. So those servers are hosting all the assets for the website. So it needs to be cooled somehow. It's being used whenever you use a website. So it depends if that server is running on renewable energy. If a website is actually running on renewable energy, and then also if the code in a website is optimized. If the site has, say, unused code, which is pretty self-explanatory. If it just has code that's not being used, which is fair enough because a lot of websites are pretty big. It's ooh, I accidentally missed this piece of code. So to do full audits on that and to check out, because that's using a lot of energy that we might not need anymore, right? Or that can be slimmed down. But there's a lot of methodology which we use to make a full-on audit, but those are some of the ideas. If the images aren't optimized, for example, there's more, .png, JPEG.
Yep.
There's more optimized files like .webp and .avif, which are big buzzwords, but they're more efficient files for images on a website.
Interesting. And it's funny because I know JPEG and PNG. Never heard of the other two, and I see Levi over here just going, yep. But this is his game, right? This is what he does.
Yeah.
So you're essentially going into websites, number one, starting from scratch, or are you also going in and rebuilding some?
Depends on the client. We do both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So on a rebuild, then you're auditing, and then optimizing.
Yes.
That's the goal. That's the target. On a new one, though, you're starting with optimized data.
Yeah, we're building it from the root up in a sustainable manner. so that it's scalable for the long term.
Nice. So then from a not wanting to get into your pricing model, is it, and where I'm going with this is I want to, I guess, find out why more people aren't doing this, right? Is it from a market capture standpoint, cost standpoint, is it more expensive to do it the way you're doing it? Or is it just maybe people don't understand yet?
Over my years of being in this field, which has been, a lot for my age. By the time I'm 20, I'll have half my life doing all this coding stuff. The biggest thing that I found, and I explained this in my TEDx talk I did a bit ago, the biggest issue is lack of education and awareness around digital sustainability. Not in terms of the pricing, really. Not really the pricing, because it's actually cheaper to have a sustainable website. Less pages, less developer hours doing all of that, less code to look through. So it's not really the pricing point. It's mainly people have no clue about it. If people had a clue about it, they would, or from what I've seen, people are very encouraging about wanting to make their website more sustainable. So if we get this status quo that websites are sustainable up, and then have consumers expect that from large corporations, or expect they have digital sustainability policies, then that would be helpful in making it more spread and well known.
Do you think that's one of the things? So in the technology realm, the world, obviously there are huge players in it, right? And a multitude of medium to small. Do you find something like this, traction is just going to be so hard to get unless those big guys say we need to do it, right?
I feel like, yeah, it's helpful if they say yes. It would be a good case study, but it's not necessary. We've worked with, we've built ourselves up. My nonprofit, A Waste of Change, we built ourselves up from individuals to low to medium-sized businesses. So as long as you have case studies in the beginning, it definitely helps get those bigger corporations to even be aware of it and take advantage of this opportunity to make their site more accessible, or more sustainable and accessible too. Accessibility is important as well.
100% it is. And I love the way you say that. It's, I love hearing that you're having success at that, individual versus small SME, whichever. I think that is what sustainability, I'm in water, we briefly chatted about that. And it's the same thing. We are very much in the same space as far as educating something that I think people know exists, but don't know enough about it to really do anything meaningful with it, right? And I think I'm with you. I think it's, for those of us trying, it's one, get one person to make a difference today, right?
Yep.
And another person to make a difference tomorrow, and then another and another and another. And, that's what we can do. And eventually, I hope you're right. I hope some of those big guys, the ones that really do seem to be able to make a difference, see that and go, now's the time, and away we go, right? Cross our fingers.
Yeah, we're trying. I mean, we've reached out to some bus companies, to some airports, and showing issues, and the typical response is that they deem that it's fine. It's fine. It's all right. It's all right. But it's okay. It's not a priority. But hopefully something will change and there'll be more collaboration.
I've been doing it this way all the time. Why do I need to change now?
Yeah,
right?
Status quo.
Yeah, status quo. And it's a killer. You wish some businesses could get past that. So obviously you search out people that are change makers. They have a growth mindset. You're in a great region for it, I'm assuming, in the Vancouver area.
Yeah.
Obviously, that is, I would say the heart of sustainable mindset in Canada.
Yeah.
And you're probably seeing the benefits of that.
Yeah. We're one of the only cities with Sustainable Technology Week as an official proclamation, like a civic recognition. We actually just renewed, we originally made that for 2025 here in the city of Vancouver. And now, today, nice. I just got word that it's been renewed for 2026. So that's some amazing news.
Awesome. Yeah, that's
actually right
great.
back here. This little,
oh yeah,
yeah.
There we go.
And signed by the Mayor Ken Sim, who brought Web Summit to Vancouver, actually. So he's to thank for many things. Yeah.
Well, that Web Summit, so that's where you and I, we had communicated a little bit before I reached out on LinkedIn, met each other at Web Summit when I was out in Vancouver. What I hadn't been to Vancouver in years, but what an incredible city.
It's just lovely, yeah.
Yeah, it's got so much to offer. The people are great. I loved my time there. Let's talk about business prioritization. So I'm a small business owner because my goal, I guess, a little bit here, Gabe, is to extend your message out to some of my audience. It's not a big one, 6, 7 people, kidding. But if I'm a business owner, what would be, my first step to say, okay, I don't understand it, but I want to do something about this. I have an IT company, right? What does this first step look like? Because I think that's a bit of a problem for someone in my shoes where it's like, I don't even know where to begin.
Yeah. If you have an IT company, they might have an idea of, being sustainable online, but generally it's from what we've seen at Oasis of Change, it's pretty different from the reality. So as I was saying, there's not a lot of education on digital sustainability. So yeah, these corporations or these IT corporations know a little bit. They don't know the entire photo, or they don't know how to do audits of sites we've found and actually implement. Yeah, they can implement sometimes, say optimizing an image, that's easy. But there's some harder kind of criteria to make a site more sustainable that I found that they haven't been educated on, or they don't know how to do. So I would always recommend chatting. There's some amazing agencies. There's Whole Grain Digital in the UK who are the pioneers in digital sustainability for the past, decade plus. They're amazing. It's always important to do some research on digital sustainability for those agencies before they actually say that they're green and do the work. But they just do.
Spend a little time learning.
Yeah.
Spend a little time learning about it. I guess, for me, I won't lie, I'm going to probably next week or the week after check in with and it's funny because we're probably going to do a little bit of a refresh on our one website. So now I know one question I'm going to start asking. So
yeah, websitecarbon.com is a good way to test and audit your site, see where it currently stands.
Okay.
So it gets a score, like an A, B, C, D, E, F, and it quantifies that into like equivalence. So your site is dirtier than 65% of websites globally, for example. This is equivalent to charging an iPhone or a smartphone 70 million times or 7 million times or something like that. So we use that for some of our methodology. It's very interesting. Another one's echograder.com. That's a more in-depth look. You should tell your IT company to look at that. But super interesting and lots of ways we all can learn from these sites.
I don't need my IT company to do it because I see a guy right in front of me that's typing all this in, and I see my website's coming up. So
yeah, sustainable website's coming up.
Yeah, well, we're about to find out how bad I am, I think. So yeah, it's thinking. I can see it thinking there. Okay, let's talk Oasis of Change. So you're 10 years old, you're coding, you're doing this now. 14 hits, 15 hits.
Yeah, around then.
You're thinking bigger, right? So walk us through it.
Thinking bigger. I think I was 15. It was March 2024. Yeah, when we legally incorporated it federally in Canada and in British Columbia. So the idea, our mission is to promote digital sustainability. So we have a few projects that we're working on. Obviously, Sustainable Technology Week, which is that proclamation up there. We have WebReady, which is our sustainable kind of website development agency. It's a subsidiary of Oasis of Change. And we work with nonprofits and for-profit organizations to improve the carbon outputs of their websites, to lower it, to use less energy, use less water. We've gotten some great results from those. That's where the 98% came from. And yeah, we also help nonprofits. We really primarily focus on uplifting other nonprofits. Technology grants, in-kind technology grants from large corporations. Google Ads gives qualified nonprofits $10,000 a month of free ads. That's $120,000 a year. just for being a nonprofit if you qualify. So we help nonprofits essentially get those grants. We've gotten nearly $900,000 per year in those types of grants for organizations. So it's very pivotal because some of these organizations have no clue that they qualify for these and they're short on cash anyway. So it's very pivotal.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of them don't even know these grants exist, let alone qualify, right?
Yeah.
Like often they're kind of just hidden somewhere and nobody knows. Levi, what are you smirking about over there? Okay, let's hear the bad news.
Okay, so website Carbon says you got a D.
Ooh.
You're slightly above the global average, though.
Well, call that
That's a win.
Echo Grader score is 50 out of 100.
Okay.
Wow.
Emissions per load page is 0.88.
Is that good or bad?
So the digital carbon rating is an E.
That's pretty high. That's pretty high.
Excellent?
High as in it's using a lot of power.
Oh, excellent doesn't, E doesn't mean good.
No, that's below a D.
Oh,
Next to F.
This grading
Oh, we'll chat after, Randy. Don't worry, we'll chat after.
All right, sounds good. We got problems, and that's my website on water conservation. Great.
It's really funny. Last year, I went to Web Summit 2025 in Vancouver, and there was this entire company, looking at lowering carbon use for whatever niche there was. I scanned their website. Dirtier than like 80% of websites globally. How ironic. A low carbon initiative with a high carbon website. I just thought that was so funny. Because no one has a clue about this. No one has a clue.
Well, and that's what I was just going to say but they don't know.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I wouldn't have had a clue. Now I do. So good. And hopefully more people will start to have a clue about this, right? And I think the timing's impeccable because, like I said, we're going to look at some redos here. So what's your team look like? I want to talk a little bit about leadership with you. So were you or did you have co-founders with Oasis of Change?
No co-founders. I'm a solopreneur for the most part. We have some team members. We were working on this sustainable search engine called Echo Search, actually. And that was our highest kind of employee count. We had about 20 people there. But now it's simmered down a little bit, working on getting that up. But it's really tough to manage the current workload while also teaching employees or contractors or volunteers everything that I need them to know for them to work with client sites. I just don't have that time. So I'm a busy man like you. And I'm working on figuring that out. That's one of the questions of my life that I'm working on right now.
And dare I say, you're still in school because I know someone was playing hooky when you're at Web Summit.
Yeah.
So.
Don't tell my teachers. No, yeah. But 2 weeks until I graduate. 2 weeks until I graduate. Yeah.
Amazing.
We're nearly done.
Yeah. Good. So you have some staff, whether it's staff, subcontractors, whatever.
Volunteers,
you're trying to figure yourself out. Volunteers. And I actually, so John Maxwell's a bit of a book mentor. I have met him several times, but
amazing.
He actually said, if you ever want to learn how to lead, go lead a volunteer organization.
Oh yeah,
because you have no way to motivate people that are traditional, right?
That are traditional, yeah. No, it's true. It's true. Unless you convince them with like a certificate or something, but still. Yeah.
So how much do you spend time on yourself developing your leadership skills? Because, obviously you're heavy into the tech side of things, right? But you're also somebody who has a vision for more, which means likely, you're going to get from behind the computer. You're going to start working, on the business, not in the business, whatever business that is going forward. How much are you investing in yourself right now on the leadership side?
Ooh, I like that. On the business, not in the business. Yeah. I
got lectured on that several times. So.
It's the little words that make all the difference. So how do I'm my own founder. I don't have any, co-founders or whatnot. So I'm the technical founder, but also the public point of view for the company. So I've been doing lots of speaking engagements. That's working on my personal kind of engagement. Remember the Deus? So I joined them for a year as a national coach. They had this program called Screen Break, which was addressing phone use in schools, a very big problem and big question of this generation? Should we allow phones in schools? When should they be banned? Should they be banned during class time, during the entire school day? Lots of interesting questions. So I was a national coach / fellow with them. So what I did was I was coaching around 20 youth champions. So 20 children or 20 teens from all around Canada who are working on policy and events and really educating their communities about these screen time issues. So that really helped my own personal engagement because I was helping other people. And when I got feedback from my mentoring, which is very helpful, I'm mentoring other people, but I'm also mentoring myself in that process. So that really helped. Outside of that, lots of speaking stuff. So I would say lots of speaking engagements, panels. I like doing panels for events and things. They flew me out to Toronto to do a intergenerational panel with
oh wow,
yeah, so with someone from No Phones Canada or some type of organization, I forget the specific name, and then a principal. So we were all talking about phone use in schools. So that really helped me because that was very I was really scared before that in terms of speaking. So it builds up my my rapport and my background in speaking. That helps me mentally with my own self-development, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you mentioned you have, so I think it's amazing, right? You're mentoring some younger youth, but you also have mentors. I heard you mention that. How pivotal are those people in still shaping you today?
Yeah, I have a few mentors. I did, I'm not sure if I told you about it during Web Summit, but this program called TKS, the Knowledge Society, it's a 10-month human accelerator program. So they take 13 to 17-year-olds, put you in 10 months of this weekly kind of, I would say it's school, but it's higher level than school. So you're learning about emerging technologies, quantum computing, synthetic biology, edge computing, all of these buzzwords. And then, so you go in there with a kid who's curious, and then you literally come out someone who has a bunch of projects, who has an amazing LinkedIn profile, who has recommendations, case studies, a personal website. So I would say I have a lot of mentors in TKS. I'm an alumni now, so I graduated the program. Yeah, my mentors from there are the most pivotal people I know. It was a great experience, and I still have benefits to this day, even after graduating from the program.
Do you wish so you're in high school still, obviously, and I'm sure schools looked a little bit different for you, but even being in a program like that, how much are the public systems? I don't want to get too political here on public school systems, for the record.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were in a public or private.
Public.
Public, okay. So I get excited when I hear about something you were just in a TKS, right? And I know we can't bring something like that into every single school system.
Unfortunately not.
How much is the school system missing, though, when it comes to actually, at 13 to 17 years old, look at what, I don't even care if it's just as simple as having conversations with people that have done things, not just sitting in a classroom learning things. It's crazy to think I walked out with my own webpage. I walked out with my own LinkedIn profile, right? These are things that actually help you possibly in that moment, but really later in life.
Yeah, I'm in a public school. I've done my best to optimize my classes so I'm in school as little as possible because it is so behind. And I can't even imagine where I would be at without this TKS program. We learn about, mindsets, bias towards action, which means you just do it, fail, learn. The school system does not teach that. Grades, they teach grades matter, elementary school, high school, university, get a job.
Well, failure isn't encouraged in school.
It's
failure
not.
is viewed as an absolutely
grade, right?
awful.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, the school system is meant to build workers, not thinkers. And that's the reality. That's genuinely the reality. It's I just had, a class today, and we were doing these useless goal setting things, which no one checks. It's a check in the box, essentially, for, the government. Like, they have good things in mind, but how it's implemented is so useless. We check these goals, once every, twice a year, and then never even integrate them into our daily routines afterwards. But the stuff from TKS, 10 months going in that program in the beginning where I was terrible at speaking, my mentor literally made fun of my application video because it was so bad. It was so funny. He showed it to the entire cohort and was like, Gabriel, this is terrible. Look where you are now. I would say this is a bit of an improvement. And then afterwards, like being able to, we had a showcase for TKS. There's actually one in about a week now for this current cohort, where I was on a panel being a moderator in front of 250 people. Like I could not have done that before this program, and doing a TEDx talk after, and I got that day's job from TKS. So the ROI, the return on investment from this experience that I've had is just incredible. Alumni from the program have raised over $80 million from their startups. They worked at, some of the biggest companies in the world: Apple, Microsoft, SpaceX, Neuralink, etc. And some of the youngest employees there. So to answer your question, the school system is incredibly behind. You don't even come out with a personal website or even generally knowing how to build one, because all this AI stuff, it's not intentionally taught in schools. It's just from what I've seen. Whereas in TKS, it's very intentional. Everything's very intentional. Why are we doing this? And the last thing I'll say here is one of the biggest differences. I was writing down the differences between school and between TKS because, it's hard to come up, if someone asked me that question, it's hard to come up with all of them in a second. But one of the biggest things was the teacher, the mentor. So in school, you can't really talk back to the teacher without it being rude, or you can't say, hey, you're wrong, or why, right? There's a bit of back talk there, I've found. Whereas with TKS, you can question everything. You can say, I disagree, this is why. They might change their minds. It's more open, and it's how the world should be. But schools are so behind, and I don't think they're going to catch up.
No, what you just talked about was critical thinking.
Yeah.
Right? And to be able, number one, critically think. Number two, be able to express that. And number three, the minute someone is able to receive that, now you have to validate it, right? You actually end up in a debate. Debating's good. I'm with you. Like, we need more of this in the world, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk mindset. So what is Gabe's mindset, these days?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. There's lots of bias towards action, as I mentioned before, just doing it. Diminishing returns, like, is this actually worth doing? Is this worth my time? I mean, putting a price tag on my time, but also not doing that extensively. I forget the quote, but it was like, I forget the quote, but it was an interesting time, without telling you the quote because I forget it, but essentially what it was is, don't value your time as money. It's too transactional. Like, that's what a 9-to-5 would be, or something like that. But it was just, I forget the essence of it. But going into different quotes like that, like diminishing returns. Is this worth it? There's I forget the name of this matrix thing, but what it was how to tackle something. So urgency over importance, right? If it's urgent and important, do it right now. If it's not urgent and not important, put it on the list for later on, but you don't need to do it right now. Yeah. So using systems like that, having Kanban boards on Jira or some platform so that it's off into my head. I was struggling with burnout a couple of years ago, and, again, those TKS mentors helped me out. And I found if I wrote it down or if I put it on a different platform, it wasn't in my head. So I was feeling more lightheaded, which was a lot better than everything's in your head. You have to remember everything, burnout.
Oh, it's the way of the world is what it feels like, right? Drags you right down.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then I don't know if you're like me, but I know, when that happens and then you do forget something, and inevitably we will all forget something, then you have to beat yourself up about it for a good few days too. Right?
Yeah. And if it's something important, it doesn't get done. Yeah. Right. So that sucks.
Yeah, absolutely. So I love what you're saying there. One of the things that I've read a lot on is, and again, I'm going to draw on John Maxwell here, but it's create a do not do list, not a to-do list, right? It's so easy to create to-do lists, and then the to-do list ends up this long, and we get through 5% of it. Now we feel like shit because we only got through 5% of it. And half of the stuff, more than half the stuff that's on that list, probably we shouldn't even be doing. Right?
Yeah.
You talk about valuing your time. That's a huge thing. And I do value my time transactionally with money. It's like, okay, if my time is worth X, I'm going to, and I can hire someone at X to do that work, then I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Right. But, that is something that you're going to experience, as you get older and the more you get drawn in different directions. I'm grateful you're sitting in front of me right now. But it's true, right? Because you're busy and there are other things that you could draw yourself into. And I value this. So thank you for it. But yeah, I would encourage you to start looking at do not do list. Get that.
Yeah, it's a good one.
And just start hacking things off of it. So everything you hate.
Hey, yeah, just get it off there. Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's a great one. I haven't heard of that one before. It's always the to-do list. Yeah. In my experience.
Yeah, and it's just bludgeons you because we never get our to-do list done because we have 5 things done, 7 things go on it.
Yeah, and you add one thing every day, right? And then it piles
absolutely
up.
You do.
Yeah, so
it piles up, and it's just an ongoing thing. So, I think that's great. I love the mindset. It's excited to hear about this TKS thing because I think hopefully you can bring that message out to some of your peers.
Yeah, it gives me a bit of hope in the world. Like, that there's a program like this, and now they just launched Zero University, Zero.University, which is kind of an extension of TKS. It's the TKS for university. So you join the platform or you join the program and you build actual projects. So the idea of TKS is you pick something to focus on. So say I want to build something in synthetic biology, or say I want to, I want to build this SaaS product. I want to build a checklist board or a full-on dashboard. What you would do is you'd go to an existing product, you'd use that for a bit, you'd find an issue or something that they can improve on to bring money or bring ROI. Mm-hmm. You'd rebuild that, and then you'd cold email the CEO and get an internship there. That was the idea, and it worked. Wow. It worked for me too. And it's just such a unique way of doing it. It is pure high agency. So that's what this Zero University is. It's build projects, and then once you get projects, it's kind of gamified in that sense, like, XP. But you get guaranteed interviews with recruiters from the top organizations in the world. Nike, probably SpaceX, and some of these other cool ones. Like, they're all going to join hopefully soon. So that's giving me a bit of hope in the world rather than people still doing 4-year degrees on stuff that's going to be outdated in the next 1 year.
I know. It's crazy. It's scary, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially
absolutely.
with AI and everything.
Well, it's, I was talking to my accountant. He's like, I don't know how long I'm going to need bookkeepers for, because it's going to be able to take it over. But so what does university look like for you? That was going to be something I was going to ask. And this is a perfect segue into that. Like, what's next? You're graduating in 2 weeks.
Yeah. In 2 weeks.
What are you doing?
So, I was at kind of, I was like, I want to do a bit of university because university is genuinely helpful for connections and for collaborating with people, meeting new people, getting access to things you wouldn't have access to before, like utilities, maybe 3D printers or something. But I also don't want to spend my full time of my life learning and just repeating what I've done for high school. So how can I get a balance in between that? And I found the perfect program. It's called Flexible Learning. At this program called BCIT, British Columbia Institute of Technology. They have a lot of space programs with the local airport, YVR. So they're very hands-on. So I'm going to be doing business management and nonprofit management.
Oh, good for you.
Part-time. And then I'm going to work on the nonprofit, and then I have 2 other part-time jobs, which I'm working on building up to.
That's awesome. Having done what you've done at a young age, yet you're still incredibly relatable. How have you managed to stay humble through this process? What does humility mean to you? And how are you going to manage the potential challenges of that going forward, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not perfect. I try. I've been looking at some like Buddhist principles. I'm very like it's very. I did a Harvard course on like an online Harvard course, which is just interesting. On what was it called? The scriptures of Buddhism, or Buddhism through its scriptures, and just like really going deep into what the Buddha taught and things like that. Like there is inherent suffering, or there's suffering in the world, but a lot of it is just these constructs which we've made in society, and it's not actually suffering. Like I have a house, I have clothes, I have food, I have water.
Right.
Like this is not. This is a lot of people have
not suffering.
Yeah, it's not suffering. It's just what society has made it. So I'm working on. I'm not perfect, but it's definitely an important thing. There's a lot of people who are very egotistical, and that's I wouldn't say that's the best, but you can't blame them. Everyone learns differently, but I'm on my own journey. I'm not perfect, as I said, but I'm really looking through like the Buddhist perspectives and learning, like, you know, there is suffering, but how can I mitigate that and continue with my life and also give back to the community, right? Like that's a very important thing. I think a lot of people are focused on making profits and things like that, but not actually thinking about, say, donations or helping the local food bank or planting trees or giving back to the community in some way.
Yeah, and I think you touched on it right there. Like there's evidence that shows the release the human brain and body gets when we do something for someone else. Right? That servant mentality, that giving mentality, and it almost becomes contagious and it becomes addictive, and you do it once, you get this good feeling from it, and you want to do it more and more and more. So and you're doing some of that right now, like within some of your not-for-profit work, right?
Yeah, we're trying to. We're doing tree planting from our projects, and we try to work with nonprofits to make their website more sustainable and accessible, which is a big, how can we make the internet work really easily for persons with disabilities, because there's people using screen readers and all this technology, and a lot of websites are not optimized for that. So we're also looking into that. But also, sometimes we work for nonprofits and just help plant trees with those projects. We've planted over 17,000 trees in 32 countries, specifically from those funds. So we're offsetting the websites because they're optimized, but also using the funds from those projects to plant trees. So we use a platform called Tree Nation to do so. It's kind of like the Amazon for tree planting. And what they have done, or what we've done too, is we've made our own kind of transparency dashboard that shows the number of trees that we've planted. And I find it super addictive. If I'm being honest, I want that count to go up. I want to put some of my personal money in there just to see it hit, say, 20,000 or something. So I really like that. It's not what you're talking about before, like the it feels good to do that, but it's a bit addictive. I can't lie.
In a way it is, though, right? Because you're seeing that benefit in the world, in community, and it feels darn good when you're doing something to help that process along.
Yeah,
for sure. Okay, what did being recognized for all this, I guess two things. What did it mean for you? And then also, how did it change you? Has Gabe become a different person over the last couple of years when all of a sudden, some more media attention, you're obviously getting drawn in some different directions? What has that done to you personally?
It definitely meant a lot to be recognized by the city for that. It shows that youth can actually, break stereotypes about being mindless on AI or playing games all day. No, we're actually some of us are actually making impact, and we're trying to make a better future for our generation, for the next generations, for all generations. And how has it changed me so far? Well, it's given me some inner recognition that people actually appreciate this work that's being done, and it's motivation to push forward. We have a goal to plant 1 million trees by 2030. We're 1.7% of the way there. It's a big goal, but sometimes you have to be delusional to make things work and to achieve it.
BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goal. You got to
Yeah.
have them. So, yeah. Do you worried about getting pulled into a visibility mindset rather than the mindset you're in right now is impact? Like, do you have people, or are you prepared for knowing when those moments are starting to happen?
What do you mean by visibility?
Whether it's celebrity status, maybe that's another way to put it, right? And I'm not saying you've got celebrity status, but in certain circles, you are likely are, or maybe in the future viewed that way. So how do you stay grounded between the draw that can have on people, right? Like there is a certain draw. You do speaking, I do speaking. There's a certain thing that feels good about somebody saying, "Hey, we'd love to come have you speak." That feels good, right? How do you still make sure that through all that, you're still going to have the impact that this started with?
Yeah, it's a good question. I would say I know the mission of my goal, the two goals, to promote digital sustainability and to plant 1 million trees by 2030. And I'm not trying to focus on becoming a celebrity or whatever type of status that comes with. I'm just going to focus on being successful and motivated in my own kind of work that I'm doing, and that will hopefully bring more recognition to what's going on. Not I don't specifically really want to be a celebrity because there's a lot of pressure there, but definitely want more people to see the type of work we're doing and to be more aware about digital sustainability. But I think just, potentially becoming a celebrity or becoming more visible online or in person, or recognizable online or in person, comes with the motivation, like comes with the success of projects if that happens.
Yeah, and I think whether it's digital visibility or in-person visibility, it comes with a massive responsibility too, right? And I get the sense that you're kind of ready and willing and understand what that'll mean when that moment presents itself, as it already has, right? It's going to morph and change in the coming years, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, we'll go with the flow. We'll see what happens, and we'll push forward.
Yeah. Okay, Gabe, I got a few more questions for you. What does success mean to you? If you were to briefly define success, what does success mean to you?
I would say contributing to the world. That's kind of vague. In my terms, that would be working with more organizations to show that we can get, say, 98% reduction multiple times. That it's actually achievable. That people are more aware of this concept of digital sustainability, and it's not just to be environmentally sustainable. Like, that's a big point, but it also speeds up, say, a website. And a lot of people want a faster website, right? Search engines like Google and Bing, they index faster sites. So there's lots of ways then that I would consider that success. But also I would say planting the trees is of big importance. But
it's big on your list.
Yeah, just promoting the idea of digital sustainability, I would say. And then as an offset, the trees.
Sure. What are you hoping to, so you talked a little bit about the BHAG, so, ironically, BHAG is within the next 5 years. What are you going to try to build over the next 5 years, other than planting trees? What does Oasis of Change look like to you?
It's a good question. In all honesty, I have not really thought that far. I'm a small team, so I'm focusing on the present, but that's something I'm going to work on in the coming months. I would say building up a larger team, so that I am not the one doing a lot of the work, and definitely getting more clients and more media attention, and continuing that proclamation of Sustainable Technology Week. We got the 2025, we just got the 2026, we'll got 2027, and for Web Summit next year, a speaking role on digital sustainability. Where I'm gonna make that happen.
Good for you. Yeah, and I love that attitude. I'm going to make it happen. And don't forget, the saying is working in, not on your business.
Yes, I will not forget that now.
It's the hardest thing in the world to do for entrepreneurs, in fairness. Like, we all have they're like our children, right? And it's hard to kind of let pieces of that go.
Yeah.
But
And how do you,
if we want growth,
sorry to interrupt,
go ahead.
how do you teach what you would do to someone? Like, you have to fully trust them. If something goes wrong, they would have to know, say, your response, but you can't even be in there. It's the hardest thing. It's really tricky, but go ahead.
So here's what I'll actually say to that is, we have to create the environment. So you actually really spoke on this, that learning, testing small, learning, iterating, changing, boom, 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 right?
Yeah.
I think as leaders, we create that environment to allow that to happen, that learning mindset. I had a lady on the podcast, Amy Edmondson. She wrote a book, The Fear of Failure. And one of her things is it is so important for leaders to create environments of learning, not knowing, right? So what I would say to you, Gabe, is as you go on this journey and you start putting your team together, allow that environment of learning to exist. What you're going to have to figure out is internally, you will have to trust people to fail.
Yeah, it's true.
Not to do it right? And that is the hardest thing when all of a sudden I go through it every single day here because I'm trying to get what's in here, 40 years or 35 years of what's in this brain out there. But the reality is sometimes the people we are leading, that we're working alongside, they just need to do it. We've given them everything they can and they got it, but do it small, right? Do it small, figure out it failed.
Yeah, better to fail when your learning partner is right there than to fail on like an actual big
100%.
project, right? So allowing that space to fail and not letting having a safe space so the person, say, doesn't cover it up. Maybe that would happen in more of a traditional environment, but allowing that safe space, it's a good tip.
Yeah, create the environment, Gabe. That's what your challenge is going to be.
It's a good takeaway.
So, yeah, absolutely. Is there anything you regret at the ripe age of 17, almost 18? Is there anything you regret not doing at this point? I have a lot at 52.
I'm not sure I have anything specific for that. I would say maybe hanging out with friends a bit more. If you're working on a business, there is a little offset of friends and time outside as well. So making sure, work-life balance, like that's so overused, but it's the best way to explain it because you instantly know what I'm talking about. But having, like, working enough to be successful and having motivation to do so, but then also hanging out with friends, going outside, working out, etc.
Yeah. You're triggering me on a few here things. So I got to talk about Amy a few minutes ago. Now I'm going to talk about Felipe Gomez, a gentleman I saw speak in New York a couple of years ago. And I've removed work-life balance from anybody that knows me. They're not allowed to say that word. What we strive for and what we should strive for is harmony in life.
Harmony,
right?
Okay.
Work is always going to be a part of life. Outside of work is always going to be a part of life. How do we harmonize those together, right? In balance, something's always winning, something is always losing. So everybody now that's around me, they're not allowed to say, I need balance. No, we need harmony. So
Levi's like, yeah, that's relatable. Yeah, he's shaking it. He's like, yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
so,
it's the terminology, right? It's the foundation of everyone.
Yeah, and it's funny because work-life balance, that's been a saying for I don't even know how long. I've heard it as long as I've been alive. But it's a different day and age now, right? Like, obviously you're at 17, 18 years old. I'm managing a lot of people still in that youth range. Youth is up to 30 by definition, at least with the government definition. And a lot do say, I wish I had better balance, right? Well, no, let's just figure out how to have you not feel like crap when you're at work because you're at work, and have you not feel like crap when you're at home because you're pissed off about something at work, right?
Yeah.
They have to figure out, we all have to figure out a way to make that work in our life and quit having them compete against each other. We all have to work. We all have to make money. It just looks different for some people. So
yeah, some people have it more figured out than others, but it's a journey, right? And hopefully hopefully everyone can get there.
Yeah, and as an entrepreneur, you've already experienced at your age what it means to give things up to be an entrepreneur. Your thing, what do you regret not doing? Spending more time with friends. But if you had spent more time with friends, not saying that's a bad thing, you probably wouldn't be where you are today.
Yeah. You have to take pros and cons, and I'm have what I have right now, and I'm choosing, okay, maybe I'll spend some more time with friends now.
Yeah.
And it's, it all works out in the end. Everything happens for a reason, I believe. But yeah, I might not have had.
That's awesome.
Yeah, what I had now.
That's awesome. Okay, so to wrap it up, what is the next? What's summer look like for you? Like, what's going to keep you busy over the next little bit other than work? Do you have any speaking engagements? You got grad coming up, or grad's already happened? I don't know.
Grad's coming up. I think that's like 2 weeks, and then I'm actually graduate, and then so the grad party is in like 2 weeks, and then I'm actually graduating in about 3 weeks. Over summer, no speaking engagements. Just going to be at the beach playing spikeball or any other sports with friends. Trying to be offline, but I will do some work for some of the companies I work for. So that'd be interesting, learning about AI and things like that.
Gabe, is there anything you want to leave the audience with, I guess, from a mindset that you would like to bring to the audience to create some meaningful change?
Yeah, that failing is okay. A lot of the traditional school system, failing is not good. You'll get a 0% out of 100. You failed. You got to go back a year or something like that. But the reality is that companies and real life opportunities encourage failing and encourage learning. So I would say just go for whatever you're trying to do. If you're trying to build a product, just build it. There's never been a better time. And be happy to fail. It's a nice thing to know that you're wrong. To know where you could have improved.
Jump in with both feet.
Yeah, jump in with both feet.
You don't
jump in with both feet or none at all. But don't jump in with none at all. Just jump in. Yeah, but
I love it.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay, Gabe, I want to thank you for your time. That was a ton of fun, actually. Obviously we met briefly in Vancouver, but I know you were in the middle of a chess game there too. So
yeah, high stakes
chess game. But I genuinely do appreciate you giving up your time today, coming on this. Really enjoyed the conversation. Look forward to connecting more in the future. Going to follow your journey, see where it takes you, and we may have a chance to talk about a website audit here coming up.
We'll see. Thanks so much, Randy. And remember, everyone, you can check out websitecarbon.com, echograder.com. We're at oasisofchange.com. We're online too. Photos with Gabe on Instagram, Gabriel Dalton on LinkedIn. Pretty out there. Working on the SEO.
There you go. You're everywhere.
Everywhere.
Go find them, folks. Okay, Gabe, thanks a ton.
Thank you so much.